Hello there, this is Jesse Coffee, and today I'm going to do a series of miscellaneous collection videos. And I'm going to be showing you all the tapes that I have on companies from which I either don't have that large a collection of, or have maybe one or two tapes from, or maybe have only one tape from. I'm going to begin with my Good Times tapes. First of them is Hollywood's Funniest All-Star Bloopers. An extravaganza of over 50 stars of over 100 movies and TV shows. Yes, we're beginning with the Good Times tapes, as I said. This is a release from 1991, and that's their slogan on the back. We make collectability a way of life. Don't think any of their tapes have print dates or making year codes, but you may have noticed on some of my updates, I actually refer to them to this company as Tone of Death Home Video, and that's because their tapes always have the Tone of Death at the end. Well, almost always. There's one tape I have from Good Times that doesn't actually have the Tone of Death at the end. Stick around and find out what that is. And one more note before I continue. This video, I'm only going to be showing you the tapes that were pressed, stamped. They have labels, boxes, possible print dates, making year codes, the works. I'm not showing you any tapes that I have that are blank tapes, because I want to keep those a surprise for you. Next Good Times tape I have is Disco Sweat, with a special Verily discount offer. See inside the details. Oh, liar, liar, pants on fire. This doesn't have that offer. Either that or someone took it out before I got to this tape. And this is apparently from the Platinum series. So this apparently went platinum at some point. And just like swaying to the oldies, see my Warner Brothers VHS and DVD collection video, I expect this tape to be pretty damn weird. Because it's a Richard Simmons tape, obviously. He's a weirdo. The good kind of weirdo. The next tape I have is a Golden TV Classics tape of the Bob Hope Show with Bob Hope, Marilyn Maxwell, Les Brown as Man of Renown. Here's the other side of it. This is a tape from 1986, and early Good Times tapes, for some reason, did not have anything at the beginning, or they didn't have anything at the beginning. I know there was a Good Times home video. There was an on-screen version of this logo, but I haven't found it on any of the tapes I have with that as the print logo. And in the early days, see, this is interesting. In the early days of Good Times home video, they did not usually have the title written on the label. So what I would do when I brought home one of these at one time is I would actually write the title of the tape and who stars in it, if those are listed on the spine, with a Papermate pen. I think a blue Papermate pen. And the tab's already been ripped out. Next one is The Fall of the House of Usher, the original classic. This is a tape that Good Times... The film was licensed from Orion, who inherited it from the American International Library. And it's from 1993. This actually does have the Good Times logo. I think all the ones I have with this on the back cover have the Good Times logo at the beginning. And this is a tape from 1993, which is incidentally the year Vincent Price died. which is, that's got to account for something, doesn't it? Next one, Good Times, I think in the early days of the company, released a lot of public domain films. I have a couple of them here. One of them is, maybe two or three of them. I think one of them is, this is one of them, My Man Godfrey, 1936 Universal movie. Originally, but Universal had to go to the public domain at one time. This is a 1984 tape, and once again, this didn't already have the title printed on the label when I got it, so I had to write it on there. Next one is Thunder in the City, which I believe is 1937 film, which could be yours for only $2.99. I think in the past, I think there was a time where my mom was most of the tape buying was done by my mom, who paid for it. I'm pretty sure they didn't pay $2.99 for this to come to my house. And tape from 1985. Again, this one actually does have a proper label on it. And I'm actually showing you the part of the tape where I fast forwarded to the end, because one day I was fast forwarding this, seeing if it had the inevitable tone of death at the end, because of course there was the old saying, we all know what it has at the end, and that refers to the tone of death. But this one doesn't actually have the tone of death on it, however, which is surprising. I think it has the black screen on it, and then it goes to static, which is comparatively unusual for Good Times. It, I think, is the only Good Times tape I have like that, where it doesn't have much of anything at the end. Okay, next I have a 5-pack collector series of Michael Landon's Little House on the Prairie, the Emmy Award-winning series starring Michael Landon. This is a tape from 1997, and the episodes on it are The Creeper of Walnut Grove, The Craftsman, The Collection, Survival, and A Harvest of Friends. I'm going to take these out one at a time. And there's the first volume, The Creeper of Walnut Grove. And this is a tape from... I think all these are copyrighted. I have a 1974 NBC copyright on the back for some reason, even though I'm pretty sure that most of these did not actually premiere in 74. I think these premiered, and unhelpful, and none of these have the actual original air dates listed on the back, which is incredibly helpful. Not. Next. The Craftsman. Of course, these were licensed from NBC, who, I think later gave the video rights to, Trimark, to, Lionsgate, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or Universal ended up issuing it on DVD. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how. The rights to this definitely got around, as far as physical media was concerned. And got around in pretty bizarre ways. I think they went from Good Times to Lionsgate, and maybe Universal released it. I'm gonna have to look at my own edited version of that Home Theater Forum Region 1 DVD list again, just to see. Nope, apparently it was just Lionsgate who issued this show on DVD. And this apparently was. Um, I also saw in there that there was also a Little House on the Prairie, 1974. Uh, yeah, this also apparently got issued on Blu-ray by some company called Thomas Nelson in this country. I have no I have no idea who this Thomas Nelson company is. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, the rights for this series were passed around to different companies as far as physical media. Pretty bizarre directions too. Pretty unpredictable directions, I should say. Then I have Survival. This is a 1990. Yeah, all of these are from 97. I already said that. I showed the box itself that had all 5 of the tapes in it. And final tape, if I can pry it out, is A Harvest of Friends. Yeah, there's the so, and all these have a recording tab in them. Next one that I have from Good Times is Slightly Honorable, with Powell Ryan, Broderick Crawford, and Eve Arden. And this one is from 1987. I actually put a note on there that said, Note Vertical Roll. Because this tape, when I put it in, surprisingly had Vertical Roll on it. And it's a 1987 tape. And you'd think, by that point, Vertical Roll on tapes would be a thing of the past. Apparently not at Good Times. And the last Good Times tape I have are, or probably not the last, because I still have a couple of clamshells to get to that I have on Good Times, is All Time Funny Late Night with David Letterman shows. This is the only, actually commercially released tape I have of David Letterman on it. And they got one of the guests' names wrong on the back. Apparently, he's not interviewing Roseanne Barr on this tape. He's interviewing Roseanne Barr. But anyway, this tape is from 1993. Now for the 2 clamshells I have on Good Times. This one is Dinosaurs. 6 fantastic animated stories about the beasts who once ruled the world. Based on the series I Love Dinosaurs by Michael Berenstein. As opposed to Berenstein. Oh, that's where the sticker went. One of the stickers, the other day, you may have saw, the other day, well, you didn't see it actually, because it happened off camera. The sticker for, that I had atop my Canadian DVD of Band Slam got broken off. It got ripped off. It came completely apart, and so I have to throw it away. And that was the last piece of it, by the way. And this is a tape from 1993. And the last Good Times tape I have is Heidi, the NBC classic, starring Maximilian Schell, Jennifer Edwards, Gene Simmons, Sir Michael Redgrave and Walter Slezak. And it says down there, the NBC classic. Though, yeah, it is a classic, but, well, not for the reasons the box would have you believe it's classic. This one is a classic because it actually broke into a game between the Oakland Raiders and the New York Jets on its premiere broadcast, an NFL game. Really, there's a reason why that sort of 1968 match between the Oakland Raiders and the New York Jets is called the Heidi game, and it's because of this movie. The movie broke in during a climactic began playing during a climactic moment in the game, and the final score of the game was shown during one of the, I believe, the sadder moments of the film on its initial broadcast. But the broadcast of that became hella controversial, and it led to all sorts of rules being made for how to broadcast football games that became standard for NFL telecasts from now on. From then onward. So yeah, it is an NBC classic, but it's because of the football game that it interrupted. Not because of anything else. I actually hope that what's his name? Obsolete Video Services actually finds a tape of the original broadcast of Heidi, the movie, the infamous original broadcast of that, or famous, or historically well-known original broadcast of the game, and posted to YouTube. Or maybe someone has, and I just don't know it. Anyway, I have a couple of Time for Kids tapes where they partner with CNN Newsroom. I think this is the only one of these. I'm not sure which of the two I uploaded. I'm going to have to look at that again. Anyway, this is News Video Volume 1, where we have science and technology, endangered animals, and the rainforest. I believe these have different logos for Turner Learning at the beginning. This is a 1997 release. And this one actually comes on an orange tape. And it's definitely not recycled from anything released by Nickelodeon. Even though they use the same tape stock. Actually looks a bit more like yellow-orange. But when I got the tape, I recognized the shell because it looked like they were taping over a Nickelodeon tape with this. But they didn't. Because, well, I know that Paramount was doing SLP mode on Nick tapes around this time, but the tape stock wasn't this short when they did it. So this could be just a custom tape shell made for this. And it has a date and year code. It was printed during the 265th day of 1996. And let's follow that up with, well, Time for Kids, CNN Newsroom, News Video Volume 3, on location. We have Track the Dinosaur, dig up the past at Jamestown, meet the Buffalo Soldiers, and chase tornadoes. This is 1999 tape. I believe both of these were released exclusively for classrooms, where the teacher would just play one of these and just let the tape go on. They'll teach kids something about whatever was relevant in the segment. These are... but I randomly... And then I randomly found them in the thrift store, and they were never opened, and I unwrapped them in the update where I got them. I just totally bizarre findings that I made one day of these two tapes. I don't think I've ever come across anything like it at a thrift store ever since. Well, not since the pandemic, anyway. Next tape is, You're in the Super Bowl, Charlie Brown. This is one of those, from the period where Shell Oil Company, would give out VHS tapes of some Charlie Brown specials at its gas stations. I believe this is the only way you're going to get this special. It's never been released anywhere outside of this particular... And in the case of this, I don't think this particular Peanut special, has ever been issued on physical media outside of this tape. So that's an interesting collector's item. Especially if you know a whole heck of a lot about Peanuts. This actually has a print date on it. It was printed November 1st, 1993. And I have a couple of, I believe, tapes from Air Global Video. I'm going to show one of them here. I believe I'll show... I'm too busy with other things to show you the other one I have on Air Global, but I'm sure it's going to come to mind. And I'll show it when I get to other shelves. Anyway, this one is Rumpelstiltskin, the full-color, full-length movie, apparently. A wonderful fantasy for the Brothers Grimm. I had no idea. I think this is a version of the film that was obviously released after the MPA rating system was introduced, because it has the G rating on the front. And Air Global was based out of 18 Spadina Avenue, rather, in Toronto. So this is a Canadian tape. I think this is the... I'm going to have to look this up. I believe I remember then the Audio Archive guy actually finding this in the thrift store, and I believe he said that this was some sort of German version of the film. I forget what year this was. I'm going to have to look at his archive for the episode again. If this is the tape I'm thinking of. To see if this is the tape I'm thinking of. Because I do remember he showed one of the Interglobals in one of his archive thrifting episodes. I'm going to have to look at it again to see if this is it. I might be getting it confused with another tape. I suppose it doesn't really matter that much. Next, I have a few tapes of The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. No, not on Buena Vista. No, these would be released by the Carson Productions Group. First of them is Johnny's... Whoa, sorry about that. First of them is Johnny's Animal Hijinks Volume 1. It says, Johnny Carson's hilarious moments with furry and feathered animal guests. Dearly missed Tonight Show host. I used to watch a lot of on Antenna TV. I believe he has his own channel on Pluto TV, which is a free service. That runs scheduled programs for people who have dumped their cable. And as you can see here, the formatting was definitely copied over from Buena Vista, at least as far as the back cover and as far as the spines. And the tape label even looks somewhat identical to the Buena Vista tapes. And this even has a print date, which, of course, was a staple of Buena Vista's. Manufacturing date is November 27th, 2000, and print date is November 29th, 2001. So it was printed just over a year apart. Pretty much the longest gap between manufacturing and print date that I have on a tape. Next, Johnny's favorite moments, the best of the 60s and 70s. I don't believe many of the episodes he did before 1972 ever survived, because NBC, for the ones that these are compiled from the tapes that survived anyway, because NBC up until 1972 routinely, actually regularly, wiped all of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show episodes. And even that first episode, the very first episode of it from October 1st, 1962, is completely lost. Aside from, I think someone had an audio recording of it at one time. And it was used for the grand finale. And one of the lines from the audio recording, I believe spoken by Groucho Marx, who said, "I want my Nana," was on there. This doesn't have a print date, surprisingly. Well, given what I just mentioned about the fact that the Carson's Productions Group, after the Disney deal got done, over and done with, was apparently copied over the Buena Vista style of doing tapes for their own Johnny Carson releases. Alright, and the next one is, and the last tape I have from the Carson's Productions Group on there, is Johnny's favorite moments, the best of the 80s and 90s. I think these were done, these particular prints were done for mail order. They picked a still from Chevy Chase sitting next to the one half of Siskel and Ebert, who was actually alive when the tape was pressed. That's interesting. Print date is December 10th, 2002. Alright. The next tape that I have, this is actually an IMAX tape that I found at a thrift store one day. And prior to that, I had no idea that there were IMAX titles released on VHS, but apparently there were. And this seems to be one of them, Titanica, the feature-length version, which apparently got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. Just magically. That's kind of an interesting timing. I talked about... I brought up Siskel and Ebert in the last tape I showed, and here they are quoted on the front of this. This is a tape from 1992, and this actually has NCI closed captions on it, which is interesting. I'm going to get this out now if I can get it out. This actually is a gatefold VHS. And this one actually came with a theater listing guide of all the theaters around the world that were showing IMAX movies. They apparently had an IMAX including an IMAX in one of the most unlikely places of all to see an IMAX theater, Branson, Missouri. The if you've seen the Arnie Archive episode on Branson, you'll know what Branson is like, or any tape of Branson that Arnie Archive talks about. And there appears to be quite a lot of decent crop of IMAX theaters in the South. There's one in Memphis. And New Orleans, too. See, just about every big city theater in the world had its own little IMAX. Big city theater in the U.S., anyway. Or at least theaters in unexpected places. And this also came with an item for IMAX merchandise, which you could mail to 70mm Incorporated, 7 McCarthy Crescent, Markham, Ontario. And now, our feature presentation. And this has a little sticker on the side there. A little tough to get these back, all these back in the slipcase, but I managed. This next one is my only Academy Entertainment tape, Hangmen. They are the judge, jury, and hangman. And I haven't seen this one. This is a 1987. Sorry about the jump cut there. Anyway, I haven't seen this movie. It was, I believe, Sandra Bullock's first film. I looked at the user scores for this one on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems the users there are pretty hostile toward it. Because it has very low user scores on both websites. This didn't get any critical notices. Well, not any prominent ones that I can detect. And this tape comes from Hastings Video. And there's the end label of the tape. The end label fell off when I got it, and there was no print date under it. And this also doesn't have a week in year code or a day in year code. Anyway, now on to tapes I have on PBS home video and from some PBS member stations. Because they did some tapes on their own, like actual released proper ones. Some of these PBS stations did actually do their own tapes. First one is the Masterpiece Theater Collection tape of I, Claudius. Sorry about the jump cut there. Anyway, the bottom part of the box had come off when I got it, so I taped it back on. The top of the box seems to have come off too, so I'm going to have to tape that back on too at one time. I'm going to first take out the little thing on the inside, which is this little pamphlet here. It's about a family business called Ruling the World. And this is the family tree. And a word in advance, these all have stickers at the top, but they do not have week and year codes next to them. First of the tapes I got is I, Claudius, Volume 1. No, first, yeah, I already told you the title. It's I, Claudius. This is Volume 1, A Touch of Murder and Family Affairs. This is a BBC miniseries, but it airs as part of Masterpiece Theater. So it's on PBS Home Video instead of BBC Video through any deal they may have made with what by this point was with CBS. What by this point would mainly be Fox Video, but here in the States. But this tape is a PBS tape. The first PBS tapes I'm showing are all ones that were distributed by Pacific Arts, and this one's from 1991. Pacific Arts was of course, the company that was the video arm of one of the members of the Monkees, Michael Nesmith. This one doesn't have a print date. Next tape is next tape in the box is Volume 2, Waiting in the Wings, and What Shall We Do About Claudius? These were funded by a grant from Mobile. This one doesn't have a print date either. Next one, Volume 3, Poisonous Queen and Some Justice. Give me a little spoiler. I don't want to spoil the print date there. This was printed on Pi Day 1992. Here's Volume 4, Queen of Heaven and Reign of Terror. Printed on Pi Day 1992 again. Volume 5, Zeus by Jove and Hail Who. $1991 again. Yet again printed on Pi Day 1992. Next one is Fool's Luck, Anagon and Colchester. This was printed on March 13th, 1992, so a day before. And the final volume, Old King Log. Box is starting to come apart on that one. Printed once more on Pi Day 1992. I stood the box upright so that I could figure out what the hell I was doing when I was putting the tapes back in for you. When I was getting the tapes out and back into the box set. Because it was pretty difficult doing it on the bed. Next I have Crosby, Stills and Nash Acoustic. I uploaded this to YouTube in its entirety, if you want to go check it out. This is a 1991 tape. This one actually has the PBS Home Video promo at the beginning. here's another Pacific Arts era PBS tape I uploaded in, well, sort of its entirety. Fit or Fat for the 90s, based on fitness expert Culver Bailey's best-selling book. Facts you should know on losing fat while staying fit. This was purchased at a Major Video, 205 East Straightaway in Sparks, which I believe is in Nevada. This was produced by KVIE TV in Sacramento. And there's black tape over there. I actually got a fairly interesting set of comments on my post of this. Like, there were a wide variety of reactions to this. I heard that they range from people finding this tape incredibly helpful to people finding the monologues delivered by Dr. Bailey annoying. And so, I think he's pretty... It turns out to be more polarizing than I thought he was when I posted that tape to YouTube. I didn't even realize that. Next tape is Adventures. These are tapes. Next two are Turner Home Entertainment distributed tapes of PBS for kids tapes. And both of them are of the show Adventures from the Book of Virtues, which is, I believe, a religious show, which is kind of odd odd thing for PBS to be airing. Anyway, this volume is titled Honesty, featuring The Indian Cinderella and Other Great Stories. I found both of these when I was in Tucson, so I'm going to assume that Mr. and Mrs. Herbert G. Colon don't actually live at the address on the sticker anymore. And if I didn't already read the title, it's Honesty, featuring The Indian Cinderella and Other Great Stories. This one doesn't have a UPC code on the back, which is pretty weird for anything released after the late 80s. And this is a tape from both of these tapes are from 1996, so they were among the last PBS tapes to be distributed by Turner Home Entertainment before Ted Turner's empire got gobbled up by Warner Brothers. Alongside PBS's contract with the Turner and of course PBS's distribution contract with Turner went with the Turner empire to Warner Brothers. And this is a show from Porchline Entertainment. I remember seeing shows from that company when I was a kid. And the print date on this tape is September 8th, 1996. The other Adventures of the Book from the Virtues tape I have, which was apparently once the property of Flowing Wells Baptist Church, is Compassion, featuring Androcles and the Lion and Other Great Stories. And you can kind of tell these were among the last Turner Home Entertainment tapes to be made because they have a V suffix. Possibly in anticipation of the day when Turner would release DVDs in addition to VHS tapes. Which, given what I just mentioned about Ted Turner's empire going to Warner Brothers, never actually happened. This is this again is from 1996. And the actual tape inside is Self-Discipline. I don't know how I got that inside this box, but I'll live with it. It at least is an Adventures from the Book of Virtues tape. So the box sort of matches this. But this one is on Warner. But this one was released with Warner Resound, which I believe was a religious division of the Warner Music Group. So, and they're not listed anywhere else on the anywhere on the box. So that's so this is obviously a mix-up. I'm gonna have to find the Turner home the the tape actually matching this box inside the tape matching whatever box this came in, so I could swap them. And like a lot of Warner Music Group tapes that were on VHS, this one just has a barcode at the bottom with the catalog number on it. This next PBS tape I have doesn't even mention Warner anywhere on the box, but was distributed during that era, where PBS tapes were distributed by Warner. It's Andre Rieu in concert, The North America I Love. This guy, when I was a kid, this guy used to be a staple of PBS pledge drives. Like any PBS pledge drive from when I was a kid was likely to have one of his guy's specials on somewhere in it. I haven't watched any of them. He sounds interesting. He looks kind of like Weird Al, doesn't? He looks kind of like Weird Al with a violin, doesn't he? Sort of like Weird Al. Kenny G bore a stronger resemblance to him. And by Weird Al, I mean post-97 Weird Al. Which one without the glasses and mustache. This is a tape from 1998, which apparently includes additional performances not seen in the PBS broadcast. Though having not found a single off-air tape of Andre Rieu, I have no idea what was missing from it. Those broadcasts. And I don't think my mom did any off-air tapes of his specials either. But she did tape quite a number of PBS items over the years. But Andre Rieu specials weren't among them. Print date is September 8th, 1999. Next one. Oh, man. I'm gonna have to rip. I did the opening and closing of this, but someday I gotta rip this in full and upload it to YouTube and then watch my own upload of it just to see how this could be. Just to see how well it aged. Suze Orman, The Road to Wealth. Everything you need to know in good or bad times, as of the period from 8 years before the recession. And this was produced by, at least it was produced by a PBS member station. Another one. This time it's the one serving Minneapolis and St. Paul, which I believe is KTCA, which is Channel 2. If I remember correctly, in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Sorry about that. The most well-known PBS shows, PBS shows and programs sometimes get produced by local stations. Most of the time they do, anyway. But the most common of them would either be WGBH in Boston and WNET in New York. Those are the most common two places that PBS programs tend to originate from. Okay. Print date is October 18th, 2001. Well, anyway, given that it's from 2000, I suspect the financial advice on the tape aged like milk. But I'll have to see when I go ahead to do like a proper rip of the tape, full proper rip for YouTube, because And my rip will be in color because there's another rip of it that is in black and white, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't filmed in black and white. I'm pretty sure it was filmed in color from the get-go, or at least videotaped in color from the get-go. Next one is a tape, the only tape I have in this series, called New York, a documentary film, The City of Tomorrow, Episode 6, 1929 to 1941. Yep, this was part of the box set, but this is the only tape I found from it. And it's a special presentation of American Experience. Here's the tape itself. Someone apparently wrote, "Start of tape have wrinkles." Let's see if it does. Well, I haven't found much in the way of them thus far. Not any particularly severe wrinkles. It doesn't look too bad from when I open it up. Anyway, this actually is a print date under the end label. It actually blew through the sticker. And the print date, from what I can gather, is September 10th, 2001, which was the day before. And the event that forever haunted New York and the world at large. Well, the nation at large, anyway. Now on to tapes I have that were done by individual PBS member stations, as opposed to PBS themselves. This one I have was produced by KRMA, which is the Denver PBS member station. Klondike and Snoke, tale of twin polar bears. Done in conjunction with News for Colorado, KCNC TV in Denver, which I believe had just become a CBS owned and operated station by that time. This has some random printings down there. There's one from WQED in Pittsburgh. It is I did this one in full, if I remember correctly. It's a General Motors Mark of Excellence presentation of Upon These Grounds, Exploring the White House Gardens. Produced for the White House Historical Association. This is a tape from 1997. And it's got a little card there from the Executive Vice President of the White House Historical Association. Some activities for learning. There's the President's Park. And the tape itself. There's the end label. The other one I have was actually produced by GPN, the Nebraska TV Network, and WNED in Buffalo. It's a Ringing Rainbow tape. Of course, classic PBS Kids series, of course. Proudly sponsored by the Children's Place, who have the blandest logo for a children's thing I've seen. This is the second episode. I actually found this at Bookman's one day. This is a 1983 episode, but I believe this tape is from 2003. because of the funding credit. Here's the tape itself, and it says there, do not copy or telecast without permission. And GPN had addressed the post office box 80669 in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now onto my Virgin Vision tapes. I have 2 of them. This one is a romantic comedy with the works called Mystic Pizza, which was my had long been a sought after tape of mine during the 2010s. I been meaning to look for copies of this tape for years. I thought I ordered one in 2017, but it turned out in the mail to be an MGM Contemporary Classics tape. Then I randomly found this at a thrift store in, the Bargains and Treasures one day, and picked it up. This is a tape from 1988. Heard this was meant to be a very, very good film. And neither of the 2 Virgin Vision tapes have print dates have print dates or week and year codes. So I'm going to skim through the 2. This one has a pretty good opening to it, I'd say. And I'm closing that one. Another Virgin Vision tape I did. The opening 2. The other one I did. I did the openings to both of these, actually. This one is Michael Bensonhurst. He's caught between 2 girls, 2 babies on the way, and the mom on his tail. There's got to be a way out of Brooklyn. The Mafia Kid. This is actually a Film Dallas film. The only film I have that was made by Film Dallas Pictures. It's a pretty good film, I should say. Bit of a cliched, sort of rocky cash-in, but still entertaining. Next one is a tape from Alpha Video Distributors. Classic TV best of commercials of the 50s and 60s. This is from 1993. This one doesn't have a label on it or anything else. That's right. And it was moved to black and white with the color, chroma color turn off. Okay, next I have something that you ought to be familiar with if you're going to be educated on online things that were popular online, or heavily explained online in terms of YouTube poops and stuff and other things. This is The Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald, Volume 1, Scared Silly. This is an animated series that was produced by Klasky Supo exclusively for McDonald's restaurants. Of course, Klasky Supo released the shows to Nickelodeon, except for this one, which, again, released only in McDonald's restaurants. And this was printed during the 38th week of 1998. There were 6 volumes in total of the show. Here are my BMG videotapes. First of them is Lori Morgan War Paint, Something in Red and Watch Me. This is a music videotape produced in conjunction with B&A Entertainment. And BMG's tapes had no print date or week and year on them, so I'm going to skim through them once again. Next one is Meatloaf Live. Again, I uploaded this in its entirety on YouTube. This one has the this one is a bit of a bittersweet upload. It's one of the last things. One of those things that I at least got to upload Meatloaf onto my channel when he was alive. Unfortunately, he died earlier this year, and I'm reeling from that. I'm still pretty sad about the fact that he died. One of those that I relatively constantly heard when I was a kid. Next one is Clockwatch, and he's a pretty important artist to me. Next one is Clock Watchers, not to be confused with the Nickelodeon movie Clock Stoppers. This one has Tony Collette, Parker Posey, Lisa Kudrow, and Lena Ubach, and got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert, which seemed to be a sign that it's somehow a good film, even though it fell into obscurity. It was apparently purchased at a Zip somewhere. This one was released on BMG Independence. This one has an opening, but I unfortunately cannot upload it until I get a capture card, because it's copy protected. Now for my only Cabin Fever tape, and this one's actually a full-length promotional screener, not for sale or rent. This is Lover's Knot. Every relationship can use a little professional help. A romantic comedy that touches your heart. It's a 1996 theatrical release. I don't know if it was limited or wide, because it's a fairly obscure film. But it's got an interesting cast there. Bill Campbell, Rocketeer, Bill Stoker's Dracula, Jennifer Grey, Dirty Dancing, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Tim Curry of Congo, Hunt for Red October, The Mask. I forgot he was in that. Or maybe I had, because I haven't seen the film, and just saw he was in there in the last minute. Adam Baldwin, Full Metal Jacket, My Bodyguard Winer, Mark Shepard, theatrical poster available, TV home banks pay-per-view 6 months, pay TV 12 months, romantic comedies always meet Gray Reynolds, and no TV theatrical release. That sort of creative thing there. The order close date was October 16, 1996. Street date October 5th, 1996. And get a little of this phrasing. Screener only duplicated in extended play mode. There's the tape itself. Printed on the 226th day of 1996. Go to the next tapes now. This one is Channels of Rage from Root Disc and Marketing and Distribution. This was done in NTSC format. As you see when you open up the thing. Yep, NTSC VHS. This doesn't have much of an opening to it. I have Arizona Highways, presents Lake Powell in the Canyon Country, narrated by William Shatner, which ought to be interesting. Captain Kirk talking about certain parts of Arizona. And a little thing for subscribing to Arizona Highways. Yeah, this one opens in the back. Next one is some random Yiddish tape. Shalom Aleichem, Declining Menschles, and the Jai Shmugas. released by some company called Israel Music in 1992. And it's in Yiddish with English subtitles. This one's also an NTSC. There we go. It has an embossed case. And this one has the BBFC's use certificate on it for some reason, even though I don't think this ever got submitted to the BBFC at any point. Next, I got a Mexican Spanish team from Video Visa, the Discovery Channel documentary on crocodiles, titled Crocodile Territory. Oh, there it is. I had trouble looking for the English title. This one I got because it actually has a blue lid on it, and for some reason it has a Spanish translation of the FBI warning, which is odd for Mexican Spanish tapes. Also, there's nothing else on the tape except for the label and blue lid. Then I have a BBC tape from the UK. So this one would obviously being on BBC proper. I actually found this at the thrift store one day. Elizabeth R. In honor of the 40th anniversary of Her Majesty's Ascension to the Throne. Now, this is a PAL tape, so I can't rip it until I get a PAL VCR. But it was nice to find one of these in the thrift store when I was in town. It comes in a BBC embossed case. It's exempt from classification. And the print date on that sticker is February 11th, 1992. Yes, in the UK, the date is printed first. And this has an ad on the back for other BBC tapes. Blackadder, Hancock, Fawley Towers, some prime classics of the BBC in there. Watch with Mother, and the BBC pregnancy and postnatal video, which ought to be a real hoot. I hope there's a British version of VHS, of the Audio Archives VHS Vault series, because this tape right here would be a perfect fit for it, in my opinion. Or it would seem to, anyway. That's it for this part of my random VHS video. I'll see you in the next part.